Good morning, everybody, and thank you for participating. This is the last session of the first round of webinars that the Italy Representative Office of Invest Hong Kong has organized to present the Hong Kong startup ecosystem. We have gone through a number of issues. We've introduced the general ecosystem first. We have introduced a few players. We started with one of the major, and we are finishing with one of the other major. I mean, there are two major players in the startup ecosystem in Hong Kong. One is the Hong Kong Science Technology Park. We started with them, and we are finishing with Cyberport. And in between, we have presented a few venture capital companies. I'm not going to repeat again all the beauties of doing business in Hong Kong. I'm sure that you have heard about it more than enough, and that you're going to hear more about it today. Today, we are going to present, as I said before, one of our major players in the Hong Kong startup ecosystem, the Cyberport. I'm not going to say anything about Cyberport because you will hear directly from the expert who will present the Cyberport incubation program and the Cyberport as a whole. So I'm not going to waste any more time other than reminding everybody that at the end of this session, we will connect, or we will organize individual meetings or maybe group meetings with all of you, because that was the, let's say, the academic part, you know, the theory. We wanted you to understand very well what Hong Kong is about, what Hong Kong has to offer to Italian startups and international startups, and after this, we're going to talk to you one by one, and we'll try to bring you to Hong Kong to understand better the situation, the business climate, the potential of your project, and we would like you to start and try to be incubated in either Cyberport or Science Park or any other possibilities, alternatives. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to leave the floor first of all to Mr. Henry Fan. Henry is the manager, enterprise and industry ecosystem and collaboration team of Cyberport. Henry will give us an overview of the Cyberport. Henry, you have the floor.
Okay. Thanks very much for your kind introduction, Stefano. And great to meet you all, our like startup and founders and entrepreneurs from Italy. So I'm Henry. I'm manager of ecosystem and collaboration team of Cyberport. So on my side, this is Steve. So I'm manager of entrepreneurs team. So now the next session is actually I will be introducing to give you guys a introduction about Cyberport, to give you an overview, and then a bit later, Steve will be introducing the incubation program. Okay, so wait a moment. Let me share my screen. I'll show you guys some slides. Okay, great. I hope you all can see the slide here. So so thanks very much for your time. Cyberport, Hong Kong Cyberport is basically one of the major innovation hub in Hong Kong. We are the digital tech hub in Hong Kong here. Cyberport is set up and also built by the Hong Kong government, in around 2002, 2003. And then our role is basically to drive the digital tech development in Hong Kong. We ourselves is we run our own innovation hub. We are an incubator. At the same time, we also have our own investment fund, which is a co-investment fund that I will introduce a bit later. You will see in the slide. So our vision of Cyberport here is basically we aspire to be the hub of the digital technology, and also creating the digital technology development as a key economic driver of Hong Kong. So in terms of the physical location, although I cannot show you the map here, but try to imagine Hong Kong is a city, And basically, like Cyberport is basically located in the south side of Hong Kong Island. We got a very beautiful scenery here. And in the slide here, you can see the whole, kind of like the eagle view of Cyberport. So maybe to give you a quick, virtual tour here. Basically, like on the left-hand side, the blue tag, you can see the top left-hand side, you can see Cyberport 1. That is the first like office building. And then on the right-hand side of it is Cyberport 2. And then Cyberport 3 is a very long building. And then Cyberport 4. Basically, like we are running an innovation hub with 4 office buildings. Plus, we also have our own hotel here. On the left-hand side, you can see La Meridian Cyberport. We own this hotel, and Marriott basically is the operator of this hotel. And to make it, a true digital hub, we are actually running our incubation program within this space. And at the same time, we are hosting different like technology enterprises and also different type of like technology company here. And at the same time, we are making the whole Cyberport is a like testing bed for different technology. So when you come here, you can see it. You guys can visit us a bit later. And then other than the hotel, we also have the arcade here, which is the shopping mall. And the latest news about Cyberport is actually like we are building the new office building, which we are like confirmed to build, but we are doing like different study and also the preparing work. So yeah, it will be coming soon. The very new building, Cyberport 5. So in terms of the community size, we have like about 1,562. We call them like digital community members of Cyberport. So this is the number of company that we have them in our community. So on the bottom left hand side, you can see on site we have like 769 of the companies. Out of that 700 company, we have 102 are office tenants. So what are they? So the idea is simple. We want to bring in some bigger corporation to join us in this community. So basically, like in Hong Kong, the Microsoft Hong Kong headquarters is based here. So the executive work here. So we also like have Lenovo, we have PCW, we have one technology and also gaming company called Outblaze, which is doing quite well here. It's also here. We also got like AWS, one of their like innovation lab is also here. So this is the idea of like office tenants. And we also have about 584 smart space companies. So what is smart space? So basically smart space is the co-work space that we operate here. So although like we have 4 office buildings, we are not going to give all the space just to the enterprises. So we also operate our own co-work space. So these 584 companies are the like startup company that we host them here in our co-work space. And then at the same time, because we have our own incubation, we have about 83 incubatee on site here. And also one note here, because we also allow some off-site incubatees, so not all of them are on site. I will leave this point to Steve that he will introduce a bit later to give you more idea about this. So on the right-hand side, I'm trying to show you some logos here, and other than the big names like Microsoft, on the like second row, you can see like GoGoVan and Klook. They are our incubation like alumni, and they have the unicorn status. So basically, we got two unicorn here, and Bowtie and Relab, they are the virtual insurance company that from our incubation. Relab is the virtual banking, one of the virtual bank in Hong Kong, and like ZA International is another like virtual bank here. And you may wonder, like, okay, when you talk about like digital technology, what are you referring to? On this slide, on the left-hand side, you can see basically we have like 6 focus cluster. On the top, there are three. We call them like application cluster. So fintech is fintech, smart living, and also like digital entertainment and esports. And actually, like in Hong Kong, we are the fintech powerhouse in Hong Kong. Like we have over 300 fintech related company, including like Bowtie, which is the one of the very early the like insurance technology company in Hong Kong. That they got the virtual like insurance like a company or business license in Hong Kong. And plus we have like many fintech solutions here. So smart living and also esports, certainly you guys know. And actually like the Hong Kong government has appointed and also identified us Cyberport as the esport, as the organization and entity to develop esport here. And the arcade, we are actually turning it into an esports arena. So there will be a lot of like esports activities will be here. And other than these three application cluster, we also have the technology cluster. So we have a very good company from AI and big data. We also have like a blockchain company here and also very good at like cyber security. So this is Cyberport. And because I know many of you have attended like a HKSTP session earlier. So I'm trying to show the difference here. The difference is one of the very big difference you can see here is basically the cluster. So in HKSTP, you can see like green technology, you can see biomedical, you can see like electronics, more on the like chipset or those like hardware. And so we like Cyberport is more on the digital side. So this is the difference between the Cyberport and also HKSTP. And I would like to show you more characteristic of like us Cyberport. So another like advantage that you guys can see when you come here. Actually, our community is very international. In terms of our like founders and also like startup. Actually, about 30%, almost like 30% of them, they're like expat entrepreneurs. We call them. So this that means they are not from Hong Kong. So this pie chart, you can see the composition of them. So although like Hong Kong is a part of like mainland China, a part of China, but only 20% of them are actually from mainland China. You can see like US, UK, France, Australia, India, Japan. They occupy like a very big portion of like expat entrepreneurs. So you can see a very international environment here. I'm sure like when you come here, you will not feel lonely, right? And then what we do, so this small diagram show what we are actually doing with all those like cluster and startup. So basically we cultivate and develop talents. We have different programs to help like cultivate our talents and also some youngsters for them to join the digital technology and also startup ecosystem. We also like we also drive industry development. We push so much like AI and also blockchain and also fintech development and all those clusters. And so this is the second thing that we do. And the light blue things on the left, basically like we also do a lot on integrate like traditional and new economy. Like we help enterprise to different digital like digital transformation. I'll tell you a bit more in the upcoming slide. And because like we cultivate startup and talents, so I also would like to let you see some of the information about our tenants or the startup here. This chart shows the startup that they met how much fundraising they have like succeed to raise over the years. So you can see, firstly, the first number is like the 12 billion Hong Kong dollar. That's about 1.4 billion like euro that our startup managed to raise. So that is a good number. And what is even better that you can see from here is actually the shape of this graph, right? So it is a very good growth and it's exponential growth, which tells you actually that in Hong Kong is more Hong Kong or actually Cyberport startup can attract fund and also investor to invest in them. And here there are some programs that we are running for startup. So basically, like we have like 6 core program, and probably like the first 3 are more on the incubation program. So on the most left-hand side, that is for more for the university students. So I'll skip that a bit. But micro fund and also incubation program is our core program to help like cultivate startup. And certainly Steve will talk about the incubation program. And actually, like after incubation program, we also have like the Cyberport Accelerator Support Program. We have another round of like financial assistance to help our startup to join some overseas and also Hong Kong accelerator to help them to do some market expansion. And after that, they can also there's another like program, which is here you can see overseas and mainland market development support scheme. We give another round of like financial assistance for them to join some overseas delegation and those events. And then the very right-hand side, the last one is basically the macro fund. That is the co-investment fund that Cyberport, we run our own fund. We invest in the startup that is actually from our like community. So this is the idea that we got. So this is the macro fund that I will skip a bit. If you have questions later, I can introduce more. So here you can see, other than the core program, we also run 3 networks. Basically, like they are the Cyberport Enterprise Network, Cyberport Investor Network, and Cyberport Technology Network. So the idea is very simple. Other than the program that we have, we also understand that the best support that we can give to startup is not just all those like funding and mentoring, but at the same time, like for startup, no matter they are expat entrepreneurs or local startup, when they join us, we have a network called like the first one, the enterprise network. Basically, we try to match their business solutions with some very good enterprise in Hong Kong, so that they got some very good like business adoption, like with the enterprise. The middle one, other than the which is the Cyberport Investors Network. So other than the macro fund that we run, which is our own fund, we also have our own investor network. So basically, we try to bring in some very good investor into this network, and then from time to time we bring different good projects and show them and try to do some investor matching. And currently we have over 100 very active investor here. And on the right hand side, there is the Cyberport Technology Network. So basically, we also have some technology company. We try to get their support, and also no matter on technology or on some benefit from the technology giant to provide support to our startup. So I think today, for my part, I will stop here. So this is the idea, like the Cyberport ecosystem that we can provide. So here I'll pass it to Steve. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so thank you, Stefano, and thanks, Henry. So my name is Steve. I'm the mission manager of the Cyberport entrepreneurship program. So here you can see on the screen the basic vetting criteria that will be considered for shortlisting eligible applicants. Like a company must be registered and incorporated in Hong Kong less than 7 years upon submission deadline, and also the project must be rooted in digital tech related areas. So if the projects have received funding granted by other public organizations or programs which provide support in similar stage of business development, are not eligible to apply Cyberport Incubation Program. So Cyberport Incubation Programs applications are evaluated by an independent vetting team that includes venture capitalists, academics, industry veterans, and trade association members. We select participants according to 5 criteria. First one is market viability, 30%, management team, 20%, basic business scalability, 20%, functional prototype, 20%, and lastly, 10% of innovativeness. So our incubation program is the centerpiece of our comprehensive support to startups. To better facilitate the development of our incubatees, we converted to incubatee support funding of our Cyberport incubation program to a performance-based advance funding from the previous expense reimbursement schemes. So we will disperse the 100,000 Hong Kong dollars initial working capital grant upon admissions, and up to 200,000 Hong Kong dollars advance funding to be allocated upon completion of 6 monthly progress reviews. Stage 1, 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, stage 2, 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, and stage 4, 100,000 Hong Kong dollars. So up to another 200,000 Hong Kong dollars for performance-driven two-tier assessments cover the areas of the following at the bottom. So like the business performance, talents development, industry recognitions, etc., etc. So on top of the initial financial assistance of 100,000 Hong Kong dollars granted to the incubatee upon joining the program, progressive reviews will be carried out to evaluate the incubatee's performance over a 2-year period to determine the amount of the remaining funding of 400,000 Hong Kong dollars to be granted. This is different from the previous arrangement of direct reimbursement. The new mechanism enables Cyberport to monitor and guide the startups more effectively. And at the same time, red tape was cut to allow startups more flexibility to innovate and achieve committed milestones to their best abilities. Apart from direct funding, Cyberport's comprehensive entrepreneurial support to early stage companies further include rental-free co-working and meeting spaces at our newly renovated entrepreneurship centers, entrepreneurship advice and trainings for skills sharing and collaboration, as well as investor matching services. Incubatees are also entitled to free access to Cyberport's co-working space during the incubation period. So Cyberport incubation programs accept applications all year round. Applications received will be processed in 3 batches following the submissions process below to apply. So the applicants are required to submit online applications for Cyberport Entrepreneurship Management System, EMS, with supporting documents. And initial screenings will be conducted by the entrepreneurship team upon receipt of all applications. The objective of this initial screening is to ensure that the submitted applications have fulfilled the eligibility criteria listed in the application form and guidance notes for applicants. A vetting meeting will take place after the application deadline and an initial screening. Entrepreneurship Committee Advisory Group members will form a vetting team to evaluate the applications and identify shortlist candidates for the presentation sections. So the presentation sections will be scheduled after the vetting meeting. The vetting team members will form a vetting team to confirm the admissions of incubatees. For incubation programs, each shortlist candidate is required to conduct a 6-minute presentation followed by a 8-minute Q&A sections. And the vetting team shall consider the vetting criteria weighted as mentioned in the previous slides in determining a prospective project's potential to become an incubatee. Email notification shall be sent to applicants on the final vetting result, which is subject to the final reference check by the Cyberport. So here are the timelines of the 3 intakes of this year. And lastly, SME1 under the Hong Kong Productivity Council assists local SMEs to enhance competitiveness and upgrade their business by providing one-stop support and comprehensive information in relation to various government funding schemes and support programs. A dedicated service team entitled SME Reach Out offers free and tailored funding advice to SMEs from identifying applications, funding schemes to hand-holding application support. Cyberport, we regularly organize networking events for the community to learn the latest information about the startup support service and government programs. With a view to encouraging better utilization of the funding support provided by the government, we work hand in hand with Hong Kong Productivity Council and different government departments to help our companies understand over 400 government funding schemes. So that's the end of our sharing, and we hope that this activity has given you a much clearer understanding of Cyberport Incubation Program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Andrew. Both presentation very interesting, very clear. I'm sure there will be more questions. I personally have a few actually, but we'll leave this for the end of it. I think we can now give the floor to the three Hong Kong startups incubated at Cyberport. So they will give us an overview of what they're doing, and then I'm sure we will have questions for them as well. Steve, would you introduce your startups first?
Yeah, sure. So the first startup from Cyberport, we will have Fiona Lee from Wonderkid. Fiona, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great. So the floor is yours, and then virtual floor. But share your screen, please. For the slide. Thanks.
Sure. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, very good.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
All good.
Great. So my company is called Wonderkid, and basically what we do, we create smart incontinence solution that can make caregiving easier for carers and better for the senior people. So as you know, the world is aging, and as you can see, there is actually more the aged population in the next 30 years. So this age population is going to be 2 times of today's figure. And the growth rate of the elderly, even older, over 80 years old, is actually increasing at a faster rate. So because of that, a lot more elderly needs carers, and we're actually placing a lot of pressure in the caregiving industry. And these are the news from all over the world. In Hong Kong, in UK, in Australia, we are facing a huge shortage of carers all over the world. And in Hong Kong specifically, we need 3 times more carers in the next 20 years, and we need 1,200 more nursing homes in the next 30 years. And currently there is an 18% of shortage of care work positions. And this is the same across the board in all countries, all developed countries. And we are relying on a lot of immigrants to help care for elderly senior people. And also a lot of elderly face different issues, like especially elderly who have to stay in bed for a long time. They develop diaper rashes because of placing prolonged pressure on their bodies. They have bed sores, and then they also experience accidental falls. And a lot of elderly have dementia, so they aren't conscious and cannot communicate their needs to the carers. And that is why we create a solution. We call it Nice Care Smart. Basically, it supports carers. It gives alerts for carers to care for the elderly better. And this whole solution actually consists of a wearable device, so which is connected to a diaper, as you can see here. So we produce smart diapers with 2 sensing lines, and with sensors, we are able to send data to a mobile app, a handheld device for carers, as well as through a transmission hub, we can send data to a cloud platform and display all this data and alerts in the web portal, which we designed for nursing homes. So basically, carers can receive alerts to provide on-demand care for the senior people in nursing homes. So this is a video to show you how our technology works. So basically, in this video, we are pouring water into the smart diaper, as you can see in the video. And the color of the hub is actually changing from green to yellow to red as we pour water into the diaper. So we also have an app. So the color in the app, diaper awareness color, also changes in the app as we pour water into the diaper. So this is actually very important for carers, as right now they actually have to change diapers for the elderly and at night. So if they are able to see the color change of the hub just from a distance, And if they know that they don't have to change the diaper because the diaper is just moderately wet, then it can actually save labor costs. It can save labor time for the nursing home. And this is our design of the Carer app. So basically, carers can see all the elderly in one screen, and they can receive alerts, diaper wetness alerts, and they can also monitor all the elderly in real time, on knowing the wetness level, knowing the estimated void volume, knowing that the activities of the elderly, how long have they been inactive in the same position, so that they know whether they need to help reposition bodies of the elderly in the nursing homes. There's also some very simple analytics, knowing the diaper usage, void volume for the particular user per day, per month, per week, so that it can actually help the nursing homes to provide more insights for nursing homes to provide better care for the senior people. And we also designed a web portal which would facilitate nursing homes to do some data management and inventory analysis for diapers. And we also have some nifty analytics to show the real-time wetness monitoring per day, and also the posture monitoring throughout the day at different times throughout the day. So then they can look at trends and to better inform the rehab work and pressure care. So we designed the system basically to try to benefit all stakeholders. Not only that, elderly can receive better care because we're giving more insights for the nursing homes and the carers, but we are also helping the carers because we are able to reduce diaper changes at night. And we are also giving more data for the nursing homes to make smarter decisions and providing better care. And family members also get a peace of mind because when they visit elderly in senior homes, they know that the nursing homes actually have all this data, and they know how frequent diapers are being changed. And it's also good for the environment because in some cases we're able to reduce diaper usage consumption. One of the pilot that we've run with Hitachi Japan in 2018, we're able to actually reduce diaper usage from 32,000 pieces to 20,000 pieces. And then we reduce this diaper changes from 8 times to 5 times per day. So this actually greatly reduced the labor cost and time. And we're saving $46 per user per month on diaper consumption. And so far, we have been actually reaching out and establishing our global partnerships with a lot of different organizations, not only in Hong Kong, but overseas. And we have been going to trade shows and conferences to meet distributors. And through them, we're able to establish partnerships and tap into nursing homes in Hong Kong and also overseas. And so far, we have conducted demos and trials in Japan, Australia, and Hong Kong. And because due to COVID, we have sort of paused our pilots the first half of the year, but now we're resuming our pilots in hospitals in Hong Kong. And we also believe that our core tech could apply to not only the nursing homes, but also the retail market. So we're actually expanding to developing retail solutions. So family members can also buy our products and use it for their elderly at home or babies at home. So we have this new brand product called Wonderkid, which we developed for retail for elderly who has to stay at home. So basically family members can actually buy a kit. They can buy diapers, they can buy a sensor and the hub, and then they can actually download the app and monitor their family members wherever they go. And similarly, we have the app for the family members. And we have actually compared our product with other competitors, and there's some big brands who are doing similar technologies out there, but then they focus a lot on serving the nursing homes, and then their technology is not as reliable as ours because they rely on humidity to detect the void volume, whereas our technology rely on a patented IP, which is patented across the world. We also have multiple functions, and then we also have quite nice, really nice analytics to provide for nursing homes. And none of the other competitors are actually developing very sophisticated retail solutions, and we are using our patented technology and going into retail. And all these competitors are mostly on the pilot stage. We're pretty much on the same sort of pace, running a lot of pilots, trying to commercialize our product. And this is our baby product, Wonder Mom, where we are actually selling our baby diaper with a baby app. So for moms and dads, they can also monitor their babies with an app. Babies also face issues, right? For carrying babies, diaper rashes, difficult to track babies' growth. There's also a great concern on SIDS. So basically, if babies easily suffocate due to when they're sleeping, they could sort of roll their bodies and suffocate themselves. And basically, our application could do all these things. So it can do some recording and tracking. It can, detect abnormal sleeping posture and diaper wetness. So send alerts to family members, some pretty nice analytics, as well as some diary for moms and dads to keep track. Similar technology, and then mom and dad can actually take the app everywhere they go. And we're also using the sensor, the sensing lines, which is made of carbon and safe for skin. So completely very safe for baby use. And there's also competitors like Pampers and Huggies. So they have been also venturing into the smart diapers for babies. And however, the price point is very high compared to ours. And they only have the wetness sort of detection feature, whereas we have abnormal sleeping posture detection. So that is it. This is our product, and thank you for the time, and feel free to ask me any questions after the presentation.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thanks.
So the next is Mydoc Health Limited. Mr. you have the floor. Are you ready to present?
Sure. I was just waiting for some questions, maybe to Fiona,
but why don't we leave the question Q&A to the end, so we go through all the projects and.
Okay. Great. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to those in Italy. So Mydoc is a value-based digital care platform focused on primary acute illness engagement, health screening, and doctor engagement from a virtual perspective. I suppose when we were thinking about presenting, we presented to Cyberport. It was before COVID-19, but I don't need to tell anyone about the benefits of people engaging on normal acute illnesses through a telemedicine proposition right now, and the importance of people, of course, staying in their own home and the ability to get professional, localized care. It's not just about acute illness. We look at the complete health journey, provide support through our medical concierge, through nurses and other medical professionals. And all of these processes are done locally. And so this is a big differentiator, that actually we hire local doctors and local medical professionals to support our proposition. Anna, if I can just get forward one slide, it'd be fantastic. There we go. Just a little bit about Mydoc. Probably one of the first telemedicine businesses. Started 8 years ago, probably when no one knew what telemedicine was. On that journey, there's been lots of reiterations of our platform to ensure that we have a good user experience, clarity to the onboarding of those particular users and patients, and an ability to ensure that the patients consistently can talk to the doctors within a reasonable time period. There are no necessary regulations in Hong Kong, but we do adhere to the sandbox in Singapore, where our head office is. There are regulations in terms of telemedicine provision, and there are also global guidelines from the UK and in America, which we comply with all of them. Again, I believe we're still the only telehealth business in Asia to do so. So that's very important, because I'll sort of, obviously the COVID-19 situation, there's been a lot of businesses that have started to engage in some form of virtual consultation. Generally, something like we're doing today, a Zoom call, which for many reasons, that is not seen as an acceptable interface between a medical professional and a patient. And we will take very, very highly patient-doctor confidentiality. And I can show you a little bit and talk about how we ensure that that is kept. We're also very much focused on cost savings. I'm not sure in Italy if it's a situation, but in Hong Kong, doctors have a lot of power. Each doctor has their own pharmacy. And I've worked in the insurance industry for 25 years before joining this business, and I'm very much aware of the fact that the medical industry has a lot of control over outpatient and inpatient costs, which of course are mainly borne by the consumer and also the insurance companies. And also we work with some pretty well-known businesses already, as you'll see at the bottom of the slide. As I said, we've been around for 8 years, with a massive acceleration, I think, since 2014. And we were awarded this year, Telemedicine Association awarded us Telehealth Provider of the Year, mainly because of some of the patents that we're looking at in terms of ensuring patient and doctor applicability and alignment through some of our technology. So quite exciting and something we're looking forward to bringing into the market. I talked a little bit about some of the issues earlier, overprescription, overuse. We've validated this information over the last 5 years. We have a clinical team within Mydoc. We have a dedicated development team also within our business, and a full operations team. So everything is done in-house. One of our major investors is UST. They are global developers, and they also now are performing some of our development work. So everything we do is in-house. The one thing that I think the main driver isn't just the applicability of people being able to have a virtual consultation with a doctor in their homes, at the time when, they most need it. It's actually about cost transparency. Our doctors are in no way influenced by medication. They receive no further benefit for ongoing medical care, and they cannot also ask those particular patients to come and see themselves. We have very stringent guidelines and a zero tolerance policy on any sort of feeling of overprescription, overtreatment, or duplication of care. And that's very, very important. Again, probably coming from my underwriting background, there is no care, there is no auditing of healthcare. And of course, what we have seen is huge cost inflations in terms of medicine, over 9% per year over the last 5 years in Hong Kong, and even higher in some other territories as well. So again, this is a way that we can give transparency back to the insurance companies, back to the advisors, and back to the businesses as well. So all our data, anonymized data, of course, is available, and we can look at ensuring that we're bucking the trend in terms of that medical inflation. And we've certainly, through this slide, seen a lot of issues in terms of over-prescribing, over-investigation work, when not necessarily immediately medically required. We're basically, we have three main pillars. I'll move quickly through this. So we look at primary care, very much sort of an interaction with a doctor because they have an acute illness. Also through there, you can see that we'll actually do follow-up. No one in Hong Kong in 16 years has ever followed up with me and asked me if I'm better after giving me medication, but we do that as a part of our process, a very important part, because then we determine future needs at the point of when we've understood whether the patient has reacted to the initial medication, and not doing it at the outset of the acute illness. And that seems to me, of course, very beneficial to the patients in terms of their efficiency to get in and out of their particular medical health journey. We can also do outboarded phlebotomists, so that you don't actually have to go to a doctor if you need to have blood drawn. We can actually do that and have those people come to their particular office or obviously home. So again, we then move on to preventative care, and I'll show you a quick video in a second. We do a lot of health screenings. We try and engaging people a little bit more in Hong Kong and also in all of the territories we operate in terms of doing for the businesses to take a little bit more interest in ensuring that their staff are healthy. We find some very interesting results. I think there's something like over 750,000 people in Hong Kong out of 7 million that are diabetic or pre-diabetic. A lot of the time we're finding, results that that are certainly high in things like hypercholesteremia and obesity. And the people look generally pretty fit on the outside, but unfortunately underneath, we're finding a lot of need for things like preventative care, and then trying to remove the need for them to go on to a very long-term chronic disease management program, which of course has a lot of associated costs. The well-being side, we created within 2 weeks a COVID clinic, launched that globally, so people could actually talk to doctors about the COVID situation. I'm glad that in some countries that's obviously abating now, but obviously still very relevant globally. So we were able to launch that in a very short time period. That will then be rolled into a much wider advice hotline. A lot's being said about mental health right now. It's used to be a very taboo subject in Hong Kong. It's now moving into more of a mainstream engagement. And people are willing to talk about the mental health issues that they're under. And obviously, some of the obvious protest issues in Hong Kong, and also the ramifications of coming out of COVID-19 lockdown and social distancing. I'll just very quickly show you, this is a minute video. See if we can move along. Sorry, I haven't got too much longer, right?
Yeah, I just, yeah. So I would like to check how long is the video.
1 minute. 1 minute. It's going through now. Give me 1 minute. I'll just go through it. I just want to show everyone very clear in terms of how we are providing the results, and that you can actually very clearly see on the app itself. You can also then make a consultation with a doctor. Certainly we prescribe that if it is actually something where there is a sort of a negative result, a high negative result. This actually is one of our doctors. It isn't just a model. And he can have a discussion with and set the appointment. Again, everything is verified. The conversation happens. And then depending on how we set the particular product up, you can then have the case notes, any medical certificates given back, any prescriptions given to the customer. They can be delivered, or they can have self-pickup at some of our pharmacists that we have around the region. This is very important. This, again, is encouraging people to engage, but also have the comfort of staying at home. So that's that video. So I'm going to skip through the rest of it. We are an established business with a lot of people behind it, whether it be insurance or medical background. And I'm very happy to talk to anyone else about, what the Mydoc experience looks like. We are expanding. We have operations soon to be launched in the US. We're looking at Europe at the moment. We have one partner in London, but we are expanding. And in terms of our setup time, we're now down to about less than a month in most territories. Thank you. Sorry for running over.
No worries, no worries. Great presentation, Jonathan. Thanks very much. So yeah, I hope you can find some partner in Italy as well. And thanks very much for your presentation, Jonathan. So for the next Cyberport startup that we'll presenting, it will be Mario from Testpack Limited. Mario?
Yeah. Hi there.
Yeah.
Hi there, guys. Thank you very much. So just let me open up this. Can you see it? Can you see my screen?
No. You need to click share screen and then choose the window that you want to share.
I already shared it a while ago, but okay, cool. There you go. There you go, guys.
It's coming. We see it. Maybe you want to make it live full screen.
Yep. There you go.
You can see.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. So let's begin. That was me back in the Special Forces when I was in South America. So when we used to go on deployment, we used to have a problem. That was we had to come back every 2 weeks in order to recharge mobile equipment, radios, mobile phones, GPS trackers. So pretty much any equipment that you could think of, it was what we had to stop for in order to recharge. So based on this experience, what I did was to take the background that I had in the military and bring it into the consumer sector and also into the emergency rescue teams. So the problems that I had in the military, it was faced by people in rescue organizations in these days, people who work outdoors, because pretty much everything that everybody does these days, it's mobile. Right now, because of the COVID-19, there's a big issue in regards to transporting, for example, emergency energy resources to like diesel generators, because these are dependent on logistics, and also because they're dependent on let's say, diesel and fuel that needs to be transported. So that's why what we have done. So as a company, what we have done is to focus on fixing the biggest issue in mobile energy generation, which is the weight that the rescue forces, or let's say rescue personnel, has to carry to remote location or off-grid locations. We also have fixed the time that it takes in order to take this equipment to other places, and also the safety, as there is no methods in order to connect people who are in off-grid locations together with headquarters. And the most important part of what we do is the energy generation, how to create energy in remote locations, and also the lack of transparency, that because people think that NGOs and many organizations who work in off-grid locations do not work on a very ethical way, such as NGOs and people who work, let's say, in oil factories or in very long places. So what we do as a company is we create software, we create hardware, we design, build, and patent different technologies around our knowledge in off-grid energy generation. And then we partner up with different organizations, such as the United Nations, different NGOs, and different armies, and then we put our solutions into their for their usage. And the main differentiator as a company that we have is that we create the technology hand in hand with the customer in the field. Currently, the annual spending for batteries and for off-grid energy generation products is over $1 billion. If you talk about the military, it's even more. So as a company, what we have right now target, it's the NGOs and companies who work in remote locations, such as telecoms as well. So as a company, what we have done is create different software solutions in order to analyze data analytics, applications, GPS tracking, and also to implement different type of anti-kidnapping features in our technology, because most of the people that we work with work in remote locations, such as in Bahir and north of Africa, and sometimes people get abducted. So we have created technology that's used in order to be used for anti-kidnapping. We have created solar technology in order to reduce the weight of different products, and in order to reduce the weight of different laminations for solar panels and make it extra light. And we have created the power electronics that are modular to carry it into a plane, and in order to reduce the weight, and the battery technology that is ultra fast charging and fast and safe to charge. So we have developed a new type of battery that is able to charge in 8 minutes. This 2,900 milliamps equals to charging your phone in only 8 minutes. This technology is non-flammable. It's fast to charge, and at the same time, because it can take more loading, you're able to take more cycles. So our batteries chemistry could take up to 1,000 cycles. So all the technology that I've shown you goes into a platform where you can find the geolocation of the people that is working with you, and you can real-time track the statistics of the energy usage of everything that someone is doing in remote locations. You can monitor the technology of anybody that is working off-grid locations. If you're, for example, working in London, or you're working in any place, you can see what anybody is doing in Hong Kong. You could see what is the usage that they're doing to the equipment that they have at any moment. And you can, and whenever you plug any device into our technology or into our products, they intercommunicate between each other, so you're able to see what is the energy consumption and where they are. So this is something that we have created for Plan International, which is we call it SMB, which is Solar Mobile Backpack, which is able to create and turn any kind of room into a classroom. And it's able to provide security to all the teachers or people who provide training in remote areas. So the main differentiator of our products, because we have different array of products, is that we are going towards digital solutions. All of our analog technology is being connected to our platform, so you're able to track the usage and also the efficiency of energy usage. Our strategy for the following years, following 4 or 5 years, is to implement our battery technology into different hardware that we have developed, so we can charge faster and at the same time provide a safer transportation. Because when you get to certain altitude, different battery technologies, such as, for example, lithium-ion cobalt, can exploit or ignite. Our battery technology doesn't ignite, so that's why actually it's recommended in order to be transported at high altitudes. Currently, we have more than 6 different contracts with Plan International, Semi Solutions, the Audi Corporation, the United Nations in Jordan, Fingo and Fin Partnership, and all of these contracts have been already signed, and we're in the process of ramping up our production of products in order to fulfill the orders. Our business model is fairly simple. We sell our products, and at the same time we can lease our technology, and we can just also have a SaaS system business model for the software platform that we have in place. One of the main reasons why we have joined the Cyberport program, it's because Hong Kong, it's a place where you can speak English, and at the same time we can keep the relationship with all of our suppliers in the Shenzhen area. So we are able to expedite the process of production, quality control, and also with the contacts of Cyberport, we have been able to find a different type of investors in order to scale up the company. Everything what I have shown wouldn't be possible without the committed team that believes that energy has to go mobile. We have a complete team that's able to design, prototype, produce, marketize, and sell everything we do. Right now we have a team of 12 people, and most of us were working remotely for obvious reasons, but our headquarters are in Helsinki in Finland. Thank you very much for your attention, guys. That's what we do in regards to mobile energy generation. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much, Mario. Thanks a lot. Impressive product. Firstly, I'm quite interested to speak with like Roberta from Louis. So I think the numbers and your business, your product that you have introduced is quite interesting, and I just would like to ask, like, what is your go-to-market strategy to China, and see if I can give any advice or any information for you in terms of this. So because you said like 7% of them are from China, right? So how are you going to do? With China.
So Google was sorry, just 1 second. I don't know if I just don't see you anymore. Trying to see you.
Well, we can see you. Don't worry.
No, but it's just I'm not really well, okay, I'm gonna talk without seeing anybody. So basically our growth of engine in the rest of the world was Google. We worked a lot on search engine optimization, and now we know how to grow in that way. So in China, we're gonna work on our digital footprint on Baidu. So we hope we're gonna find a way. And we were already in China for 3 months just to test if like our idea makes sense. So we talked to several marketing experts, and it seems that what we're going to do, we are gonna adapt our global strategy to China, taking into account how Baidu and Bing and all the other search engines work in China. We are going to increase our presence in all the like Chinese tech environment, and we are going to have a really efficient service in terms of speed, and this is going to help us a lot also with Baidu. Ludwig already exists on Baidu. If you search on Baidu Ludwig.guru is going to be the first result. The reason why we weren't really able to replicate what we're doing on Google on Baidu is that our website in China is really slow. So Baidu doesn't really like a service which is that slow. The reason why we are slow is that our servers are out to China, so because of the Great Firewall. So we think that like fixing all these aspects without even investing in marketing is gonna help us a lot. And then we have already found a company in Shanghai, which is gonna help us a lot with like marketing and strategy and communication in China. So I just want to tell you that the reason why we came to China is also that we started getting emails from Chinese users complaining about our service because it was low. So they were like, I'm paying $90 for a subscription and your service is low, but I'm still gonna be your users because I don't have any other alternative. So for us, it's just like, we proved that our marketing, our like product makes sense. Also, Hong Kong is our fourth country around the world. So after United States, UK, India comes like Hong Kong. So we know that there are a lot of Chinese users connecting with VPN from Hong Kong and Taiwan. So Hong Kong is the fifth country. So we are just gonna make Ludwig accessible for the Chinese market, and like, and we think this is gonna like automatically gonna help us a lot with growth. There is a reason if like Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, Japan, and North Korea, South Korea, sorry, it's like have the highest conversion rate around the world.
Good, good, understood. Yeah. So I mean, it's great to hear that you are working with Baidu. I hope that I mean one day you can be one of the native native tools on Baidu that Chinese people can use. So I just want to share some because today time's a bit tight, but anyway I'll try my best to give you some information. But I actually think like in terms of like targeting China for your business, Cyberport could be a good place because I mean in my slides I did not have a chance to share with you our like connection and collaboration with China. Basically, like we got an office in Shanghai. I mean Cyberport Shanghai office there. We have colleagues working there and helping all the startups from our community, so that when they want to expand to China, that those colleagues in Shanghai office can help. And as well, because nowadays we are talking about Greater Bay Area, which will be one of the the very important, like no matter in economic sense or in other sense, will be an important region in mainland China, and it's growing very fast. And in the Greater Bay China, in Greater Bay Area, like Cyberport we are also building different like landing partners in all those like 9 cities of like a Greater Bay Area in mainland China. So I think like in the future, if you come to Cyberport, you can make use of our landing partner as well. To help you to expand to China. So all those like landing partner will help you to set up your office, but probably at the same time they can give you very good advice as well. This is what all those like our colleague in mainland China, and also what the landing partner is helping them. So just for your information, in case you are considering Hong Kong, it's one of the places.
The idea is to be in Shanghai to focus on mainland China, and from Hong Kong, our company in Hong Kong, we're gonna try to focus on like all the other countries in Asia. So we're gonna have 2 different strategies, of course, from mainland China and like the rest of the places. So it's amazing that you have both, that you are present in both places.
Yes, no worries. Interesting. Yeah. So I'm quite sure like Stefano and Ilaria is going to give you more information on that, and feel free to reach out to us as well. Yeah. And thanks, Roberta. And Vincenzo, right? I'm sorry. The last company mesh.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope I did not, pronounce your name, too much, too
No,
words.
no, it's perfect.
But anyhow, yeah, I just would like to share with you. I mean, your product is quite interesting, but I'm just not sure because emotional and cartoon is more on on personal view. I mean, I'm not sure whether the kids in Hong Kong or in Asia can like your cartoon or app or not. But I just would like to share with you since like esports and also create something like digital creativity is also our main cluster, and we have been like a different company doing this as well. And so Cyberport could be one of the places that you can consider. Like when we talk about like esports, it's not only the like LOL, League of Legends, or all those stuff, but we are also talking about different kind of like gaming and in other industry. Indeed, like in my slide, that one company called Outblaze.
Yeah.
In my slide, you can search it a bit later. Actually, like Outblaze nowadays, they have a one of their main child company, which is called an Nicomo. I'm sorry, yeah, Animal Co. Basically, that company is focusing on all those like gaming and cartoon character. Actually, one of the example is basically that company, which is located in Cyberport. They are the official distributor, I think, the official distributor of like Crypto Kitty. So not the kind of like a cartoon that you are doing, but what I mean is we got some very good cartoon or like gaming company here, which probably you can cooperate. Like Outblaze, basically they have offices in all over the world, no matter in North Europe, South America as well, because they have different team in different places, and they do a lot of acquisition. So this is for your information. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, hope you find some value like in Cyberport and also in Hong Kong as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because we are really interested on the Asian market for two main lines. One, because the market of the character, it's really huge. It's more huge than in the Europe, because in Asia it's really common using character also for advertising for bank or for other really serious business. In Europe, it's less this. And also because are growing the interesting from the school about these emotional skills, because from kids I know that the education, it's really vertical to achieve some competence, and sometimes this vertical don't give space to the emotional skills. So to understand how can be how can the kids can solve the normal problem of the life. Maybe they become a really great businessmen, but they have some problem to understand this kind of skills of problem of the normal life. So this is why we are investigate to open in the Asian market, and we get some good results in Korea, because we was 3 months in Korea to test the market in Asia, and now we are going to test also in the Philippines. So we are interested more in Hong Kong, and because we think that with the differentiation of the market, Asia have this kind of possibility for us.
Yeah. Perhaps you can try to find some distributor in Asia that helps you to open some doors here. Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks very much. So I think we spoke with another company as well. So do you have some comment or?
Yeah, I think all of you are interested in Cyberport incubation program. So I saw some questions that asked in the chat room. So in short, if any one of you would like to apply Cyberport incubation program, please remember you need to register and incorporate in Hong Kong first before the application deadline. And we have 3 intakes each year. And the coming application deadline is on 3rd of August. So you still have 2 months time to incorporate in Hong Kong.
And I think Steve, I think now currently we are not equity picking, right? Our program, because I saw someone that what do we ask for the like 200,000 Hong Kong dollar? There was one question earlier.
Yeah. Yes, there's a question. What Cyberport ask in return for the $200,000 contribution?
So the maximum financial support of Cyberport incubation program is 500,000 Hong dollars. So maybe I go back to the slides that we share. Okay, so this one, right? So we have two-tier assessment here. So in total, after admission, we will first disperse first 100,000 initial capital round, and then we have, because our incubation program will last for 24 months, so we have 4 review meetings for every 6 months, and also if the startups during this incubation program period, if they achieve some assessment, we will disperse up to 200,000 Hong Kong dollars. So the performance, the assessments are those like business performance, overseas or mainland China expansions, or Cyberport engagement, like the startups that joins here today to share the presentation and share their journey in Cyberport, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think the question was probably whether Cyberport is going to subscribe some of the equity in the company or not. I think if I guess, you know, so your contribution, up to $500,000, is not against equity. Is it correct?
Sorry, pardon?
Your contribution on Cyberport up to $500,000, $500,000. It's not against.
Right.
It's not against equity. I mean, you don't ask to subscribe equity in the companies, right?
Right. Like even we provide, as I mentioned, we provide up to 500,000 financial assistance. But Cyberport, we don't take any share or equities of the startups, because our primary mission is to nurture startups and help them to expand the business, especially in Hong Kong and in China. So you can say this is free money, and we don't take any shares of those incubators who are admitted.
I have one question. I'm aware that before application, companies should have registered a Hong Kong company first. I wonder, is there a way whereby, or is there time, let's say, for between the application and the reply, the admission, the confirmation of admission? Can companies finalize the registration of the Hong Kong company, let's say, between the application and the confirmation, or between the confirmation and the actual start of the program? So you understand the question? I mean, we are asking companies to register a company in Hong Kong first, and then apply without knowing whether they will be admitted or not. Is there a way whereby you could confirm the admission, or at least give a 90% assurance that they will be admitted, and then they can confirm, or they can process the registration of the company, or not?
They must register and incorporate in Hong Kong first before the application deadline.
But there was a clause that says that companies would have 30 days to finalize finalize the process. Is this 30 days something that allows some flexibility?
Yes, but they need to provide a receipt that issued by the company registry in Hong Kong to prove that they are registering a company in Hong Kong. But they also need to submit that receipt upon application deadline.
Okay, that's fine. So, but are you going, or would you be able to provide some degree of assurance or advice to companies as to the likelihood that they will be admitted or not?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I strongly recommend those startups, if they're interested in our incubation program, please have a look of a document called Guides and Notes for Applicants, because in the documents we clearly state all the process, as well as the vetting criteria, as the weighting of the program. So yeah, which are here, like I mentioned before, the market viability, the management team, the scalability, as well as the functional prototypes. Because our judges are based on this criteria to weight a startups, the potential of the startups to be admitted to our program.
Great, thank you.
Another
question I have.
Ask a question?
Sorry, one of the slides you presented, you were talking about funds raised by your startups. I was wondering whether these funds were from the Hong Kong government or from private investors, and whether you help your startups meet potential investors. How does this process work out?
Yeah, maybe I will try to answer this question. So I suppose the fund that you talk about is the macro fund, right?
Yeah.
So basically, like the macro fund is actually the money in the fund is actually from Cyberport, our own pocket. So it's our fund, and so basically that is a co-investment fund. That means that we are not going to be the wait a moment. Yep, this one, the last one, the macro fund, please. Yeah, so we are talking about this Cyberport macro fund. So basically, this is our own investment fund. So it is from our own pocket. So when we invest for this fund, we will take equity. But because we are not a lead investor, so basically, like a startup, we will need to find a lead investor, and then we can follow investment. But I mean, for your information, if we see there are some good project or good startup, we will actually help them to find some good investor. So basically, like this macro fund, wait a bit. The whole idea is that the macro fund, no, not this one. So the macro fund, at the same time, it works with this Cyberport Investors Network. So referring back to your question, we will introduce some investor to our startup. I mean, only if they are ready for investor, right? We cannot, we cannot introduce the investor anytime that when startup asks us, even though, they are not ready. But if we know the startup are good, they have very good financial, and then the investor could probably be interested to meet them, we are very happy to introduce them the investor. Basically, from this like Cyberport Investor Network, CIM we call it. Basically, the investor in this network is not just from Hong Kong. Some of the example is basically like Alibaba Entrepreneur Fund from mainland China. They are the CIM member. Mizuho Bank from Japan. Mirai Asset from South Korea. These are only some of the example that we in this investor network, we got some VC or some investor from other part of the world. So I actually think this CIN plus the macro fund works quite well, and it really helped the startup in our community very much. So yeah, we have some investor resources for them.
Thank you. I think this was a question. I think I interpret the interest of many Italian startups by asking this question about potential, because we keep saying go to Hong Kong because in Hong Kong there is plenty of money there. It's a financial center, a lot of investors. But of course, then once startups go to Hong Kong, they need somebody to help them find investors. And I'm sure that you answer the question very, 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 very well. I have a few questions for just
Stefano. Roberta would like to ask a question to Harry and Steve.
Sure, Roberta, please go ahead.
Hi, yes, thank you. I was wondering, Stefano, your question was super, but I have another question since we are already established in Hong Kong, the company. In terms of commitment of the team, since the program, I think it lasts 6 months, how does it work? How much, like logistically talking, I was wondering how much time do you want the founders to spend time in Hong Kong and all these issues? Since right now it's quite difficult for us and we can't even move from Italy. So
yeah, so the incubation program will last for 24 months, and
no,
we
24
will
months. But I saw that
yes, we will have review meeting for every 6 months. You're right, and startups can participate in programs on-site in Cyberport or off-site in your home country like Italy. So for the review meeting, you can attend through video conference. You don't need to come to Hong Kong to have a meeting first and then go back to Italy. It's not necessary. But before we start the program, I mean after admissions, the first meeting you need to set up the milestone meetings of during these 2 years, so that we will have a review meeting for every 6 months to see the whether you achieve or not the milestone that we set at the very beginning.
Okay, thank you. I was hoping you told me you have to stay 6 months in Hong Kong, so I had the perfect excuse, but no way.
No, it's
I can stay here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can still do it.
Yeah,
Roberto,
no, we will totally do that. It doesn't make sense, but no, it's just difficult right now. I hope we could spend a few months in Hong Kong for sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for Fiona. Fiona is there. Fiona is a Wonderkid is a Hong Kong company, I understand. So it was easier for you. You didn't have to move from somewhere else, from far country like Italy. You were already there. My question for you is, at what stage did you apply for incubation in Cyberport? I mean, were you already developing the project on your own, separately, independently, and at what stage you apply for it? And what kind of activities did you carry out, or are you carrying out in the Cyberport?
Okay, so okay, yeah, Fiona, please.
Okay, sure. I applied to the Cyberport incubation program when I have already developed a prototype of my product. So yeah, so basically we have already done a pilot with Japan Hitachi with a prototype. And we have this use case before I apply to the incubation program. And during the program, basically I am improvising and updating my product and to basically make it better. And right now I'm in the commercialization stage. So throughout the program, I think Cyberport gave me a lot of opportunities for exposure. Like, for example, this sort of meeting to meet all the startups and also the Italy team. And there are also a lot of investment sort of meeting and presentations involved. And then a lot of helpful people in Cyberport to help us to go through, to apply for different government funding, participating in different sort of activities and events, just for us to gain more exposure.
Yeah, thank you. So it makes a lot of sense. Instead of having to find your own ways by yourself, you could rely on the Cyberport team to help you there, right?
Yeah, I think Cyberport has a lot of connections to the government, and as well as a lot of bigger organizations in my category, like in healthcare category. So I'm able to reach out to bigger nursing home groups and the hospital authority to actually demonstrate my product and to go and run some pilots.
Wow, thank you. Well, yeah, your product has certainly huge potential in Europe, where we have an aging population. If we can be of any help here, let us know in case you're interested in developing your.
Yeah, that would be great.
Feel free to get in touch. Yes.
Yeah, I've been reaching out to, because Hong Kong, it's still a very small market, and our main market is overseas, developed countries like US, UK, European countries, and even Australia. So we have done a lot of work in Australia. We've been running a lot of pilots there with different nursing home groups. Good. So we'll be open to, get to reach out to the European market as well.
So feel free to get in touch in case you want, or you need any assistance, any advice, okay, from Italy. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
And for Listo is very interesting. Of course, your product is obviously very strategic and very, very timely. Congratulations. My question for you is based on the fact that you are a Singaporean, originally Singaporean company. Overseas, in Italy, in Europe, everywhere, Hong Kong and Singapore are considered the two strong and competitors, you know, is always an option. Do we go to Hong Kong? We go to Singapore. So I'm very interested in understanding why a Singaporean company decided to set up in Hong Kong and to develop a project in Hong Kong, especially because my understanding of the Singaporean environment is that the Singaporean government is very supportive in terms of providing finance to innovative projects. You have definitely a very innovative and very strategic project. So I'm really very, very interested why a Singaporean company decided that Hong Kong was a better place.
Well, yeah, we're still very much located in Singapore. And you're right, Singapore is always a first mover in terms of technology. But I've known Cyberport now for a couple of years, and I think that I think Fiona mentioned it, the connection that they have with other businesses. It's a really good community, and I think that Hong Kong has this location right on the doorstep of China, where some of your presenters were also looking at opportunity within that market. We very much see complementary business in the Greater Bay Area. There used to be, and there will in the future surely be, a huge reliance on quality medical treatment in Hong Kong from the mainland Chinese people certainly living in the Greater Bay Area, which is somewhere in the region of 100 million people. So if you're looking at 100 million people who are quite wealthy, no surprise that that is a great opportunity. To Henry and the rest of the team at Cyberport, you know, I think they've got a very good structure. They're just about the right element of push in terms of making sure that we are living by our promises. And as you've seen from the other two presenters today, you know, we've got some very good quality products that are being developed. And of course, we want to look at the look at the companies that have gone before us, like Klook, like Bowtie, who have now got great positions in this market and potentially in other markets in Asia. So we are in Hong Kong. We're also in Thailand. We're also in Vietnam, Malaysia, and we want to be in Europe as well.
Thank you. Very interesting and very good analysis. Thank you for that. And as I said to Fiona, if we can be of any help, of any assistance in finding contacts or providing any advice as regards Italy or Europe in general, let us know. Do feel free to get in touch. A couple of more questions, very, very easy. Your company has been established 8 years ago. Are you still considered a startup, or what is your status?
I call ourselves a small regional business. However, I suppose in Hong Kong, we are considered as a subsidiary. We're probably still a startup business because you've got to look at the implementation. In Hong Kong, a very traditional market, so we have to, and we want to work with people like Cyberport to really gain ourselves a voice in this market, and that is done with good cooperation through obviously our business partners and our investors. So I suppose, yeah, a bit of both, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
A big brother, and we're a small cousin. How about that?
That's very interesting. Another question, that shows my ignorance. I'm supposed to be the one who knows a lot about Hong Kong, or at least almost everything. My perception, I think people's perception, is that medtech is more a sector that is should be or is supposed to be more suitable for the science park rather than Cyberport. Can you explain? Maybe you but you can explain why did you choose Cyberport instead of Science Park, for example? Then perhaps Steve or Henry may want to say something about it.
From my perspective, I'm sure these guys, I mean, we're very respectful of both organizations. Cyberport for us had, with their incubatees previously, I felt there was a great connection. And I personally knew them. So that was, I suppose, knowing people and having calls like this obviously breeds understanding and connection. And it always will be, right? What is business at the end of the day? It's about connecting people. So Cyberport and also other teams that have gone through it that we haven't mentioned today, You know, I've been meeting with them over the past couple of years, and they consistently only have good things to say about Cyberport. So we're generally, and that's why we're also very happy to spend time today talking with your good self.
Great, great. Thank you very much. Anything you want to add on these issues, Steve or Henry? On MedTech, whether in Science Park or Cyberport?
I think thanks, Jonathan, for your comments. Thank you very much.
Very good,
So,
yeah.
They didn't pay me for that, by the way. There's no payment, extra payment that came. It was a very true comment.
That's good. Yeah.
I think that one of the differences, as Roberto also mentions, is Cyberport, we accept startups to participate offsite. But for Science Park HKSDP, if you join the program, you need to be on site. So these are the two main differences for those overseas companies, whether you make decisions to join which incubation program in Hong Kong.
That's great, thank you. And finally for Mario. Mario, you are the only one who's coming from a very far country, so you are somehow a better example for Italian startups. You come from Bolivia, is it correct? Yeah.
Yeah, originally from Bolivia.
You mentioned one of the things that I always mention to Italian companies when I invite them to consider setting up in Hong Kong. You mentioned about the vicinity to Shenzhen and the area there where you can have all these component suppliers, electronic technology, and whatever. This is one of the reasons for sure. But what was the real reason that made you decide to move from Bolivia to Hong Kong, and eventually, how did you end up in Cyberport?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a story, but I moved from London to Finland because my wife is Finnish. So our company is from Finland. So that's why, and after this, I moved the company to Hong Kong. And but the main reason why we joined Cyberport is we do hardware. So one of the problems with hardware companies is we need volumes. If you want to get volumes, you cannot do that in Europe because all the markets are completely segregated. If I'm going to just try to sell here in Finland, I need to employ people that speak Finnish and Swedish. And just for 5 million people, and the costs are expensive, it's very difficult to do so. So we had a choice. We had either the choice of just struggle here in Europe because of the volumes and the nature of the business that we work on, or we could take our business somewhere where there's a lot of people. And you know that when you take any kind of product in the Shenzhen area, you just want to do a trial test, you start manufacturing a prototype or ramp up production, or let's say 1,000 to 5,000 units. Whereas in Europe, that's already production, you see? So it's much easier to ramp up volumes, and that was one of the reasons why we chose to move into, let's say, Hong Kong. So we were accepted to Cyberport through another accelerator that was called Betatron. So we were pre-selected before coming into Cyberport. Cyberport has a huge amount of network in regards to investment, accelerators, and I would say opportunities in that sense. So for us, it's rather than going from Asia to Europe and USA, because we also looked into USA, we'd rather do it into China because it's much more volumes, much more opportunities, and at the same time, we already manufacture in China. So it makes sense to start selling in China. That was the main reason.
It makes a lot of sense, thank you. And it's good that you mentioned Betatron because we presented Betatron a few weeks ago. And I have been telling all our participants, don't consider Betatron or Brink or Cyberport as alternatives. You can apply to both because the two things are complementary, not alternatives. So you are a good example for that. Thank you very much for your. And also, can you explain how the Cyberport team has helped you establish and develop your project? I mean,
okay,
which
so
way
sure. One of the things I always tell to startups who are trying to come into Asia, it's first of all is to forget everything that they have told you in Europe about Hong Kong, about China, because first of all, Asia is not cheap. That's the first thing, because everybody who thinks China thinks cheap. Hong Kong, I would say, is one of the most expensive places I have ever been, and I lived in Seoul, Korea, by the way. So I would say if somebody at Cyberport is offering you offices for free, and you have a location where you can already speak with investors. You're able already to make a connection with people in Shenzhen, because one thing is to start a relationship from Europe with a manufacturer in Shenzhen, but another thing is to send your letters from Cyberport, Hong Kong, into Shenzhen. They take you much more serious. They give a priority to your product in terms of production, and also you have a little bit more your back covered in regards to what you can expect from your partner in China. Because I have already burned twice, and I lost 20,000 pounds on my time when I was working from UK. So it gives you a little bit more of control over what you're doing.
Thank you. Extremely interesting. So you're saying that you are based physically based in Korea. Do you have staff in Cyberport, or how does it work?
Yeah, we actually, at the time when we had one person. I mean, Cyberport is very flexible in that regards. You can either choose to have an office, or you can actually just work remotely. They have a different ways of working together. If they believe in your project and they take you on, they're gonna take you up. But it depends on how you can negotiate the terms, as in everything in life, of course. But for us, it's very important to have location in Hong Kong, so we can also talk with investors, because getting investment for hardware in Europe is quite hard. I mean, but in Asia, it's quite easy to do so.
Extremely interesting. Thank you very much, Mario. I'm sure our participants have enjoyed and have learned a lot from this. I don't have any other question, but I noticed that there is a question from the floor. Gregory Royal asked a few questions. One was, could medical AI also suit at CP, at Cyberport? And if you have any similar project from Switzerland. And the other question still from Gregory was, if denied, can companies apply again?
Okay, yeah, maybe let me quickly answer this question. Medical and AI, certainly, I mean, yes, actually, like nowadays, I mean, it's quite difficult to distinguish whether it's a medical or other industry. But the very important thing is like AI. I mean, this is what we do. Indeed, we have some very good AI and medical related company here. Yeah, Switzerland, do you mean like if we have company from Switzerland? I think yes, but I mean we need to check. I cannot answer you right now. Yeah, but our company are quite international. Yeah. So did I answer all the questions? Let me see.
Yes.
I think I answered all the questions, right?
I think so. Yes.
Good. Okay.
No, the other question was, in case of being declined, can company apply again?
Yes, certainly yes. Yeah, because actually, like each round, we receive, I mean, multiples of, I mean, the quota that we can receive applications. So actually, the competition is very, very, very tight and very strong. So you can apply it again if you, I mean, yeah. Okay. And try again.
I think there's no more questions from the floor. If you have any questions, if not, we can.
Yeah, no worries at all. I mean, Steve and I mean, we would love to I mean, answer your question in the future. I think, yeah, Stefano, I think you can, I mean, send our contact to some of the people who.
Actually, Henry, I have just one comment for all the startups who are trying to come to Hong Kong, because I was also going through the same problem of whether I register and then I apply and then get denied. I would say, like, prior to doing that, if you're able to send your presentation, have a call with I don't know, with Steve or with anybody from Cyberport, you will get a pretty good feeling about where you are at. I get it that actually it's a little bit of a hassle to invest into registering the company. You can do it online as well, by the way. But at the same time, it's like I took it as an investment that it paid off in the end. And I would say you will get a pretty good idea if you talk with the people from Cyberport at the time of giving your presentation. You just call and ask. They're very approachable. But I would say anybody just try it. You never know until you try it. That would be my comment.
Great. Thanks a lot, Mario. Very good comment.
Thank you. And Henry and Steve, if you can share your presentation with us, we will distribute it to anybody interested. This would help. And,
yeah, sure.
And for sure, we will follow up with all the participants and more to try to help them, because that was the whole purpose. The whole purpose of our series of webinars here was to we noticed that Italian startups are not as adventurous, as aggressive, as quick as others to enter the to go to Hong Kong, especially for startups. So the real reason for organizing all this was to help, take them by hand one by one, try to help them go to Hong Kong. So yes, of course, for those who are autonomous, independent, are ready, efficient, please go ahead by yourself. You don't need to come to us. We are there. You know that Invest Hong Kong is a government institution. Our services are free, 100% free, and we are there to help. So what we really want to do is get in touch with you, and you will hear from us one by one. We organize individual meetings or perhaps even group meetings, because we want to do our best to help you get a solution to set up in Hong Kong, whether it's Science Park, whether it's Cyberport or others. But please do not hesitate, get in touch with us. Here you have all our details to get in touch with us, and please do it anytime. And I think if we have nothing else, we can close it here. Is it?
Yes, thanks very much, Stefano, and everyone.
Thank you, everybody. I'm sure that we will talk again soon with more Italian companies.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good day.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Stay safe.